All right, guys, so we got the official reveal trailer, or I guess title reveal trailer for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. If you don't know what Tears of the Kingdom is, it is the Breath of the Wild sequel. What we've been calling Breath of the Wild 2 is Tears of the Kingdom. We got the official title finally. A lot of people are excited, myself included, and it's going to be coming May 12th, 2023. So we got an official release date as well. Now, what we're going to do in this video is we're going to try to dissect as much as we can, just kind of as a first look, kind of a first pass through. What I mean by that is just kind of, in this moment, we might find other things down the line and we might make some other theory videos, but for now, we're going to try to dissect as much as possible live here in this trailer. So if you guys do enjoy this one, leave it a like, subscribe for more. It really helps out the channel. And of course, we're going to be covering Tears of the Kingdom. I was going to call it Breath of the Wild 2. When it comes out, I covered the first game, brought you live streams, guides, all that stuff, some of my most popular content here on the channel. So let's go ahead and check it out. So we got some music playing. And some really interesting music. And right here, I'm actually not certain what's going on here, to be quite honest with you. So we're getting a little bit of a look at a mural, right? And what's really interesting is there's a lot of stuff on this mural that we actually end up seeing. So if we continue going through this video here, you'll see we're going to see a little bit more. So there's some kind of war obviously going on here, right? To some extent. Now, I don't think this is the original war from 100 years back or anything like that. But then again, I could be wrong. We got some of the, oh my goodness, bokoblins, and we got some of the, I guess, I would assume these are moblins. They look like a depiction of a moblin, and these look like I guess dead people or whatever. On the left side, we have some soldiers. They all look the same. Now I'm pretty sure these are just Hylian knights. That's just kind of my first thought. Again, you got to keep in mind, I'm no professional. I don't work at Nintendo. I don't know actually what's going on. I'm just doing my best to dissect this. Now, what I find extremely interesting is regarding this centerpiece here, right? If we go up a little bit, you can see right about here. So hold on, let's go back there for a second. Right about here, it's kind of cut out of frame, but there's one little note here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Now, here's the thing. Ocarina of Time, I'm typing this live. We had the sages, right? How many sages were there? There was 6 sages, but then there was a 7th I guess, if you count Link in the middle, right? So I wonder if this is something similar where we have something like, I'm not saying that necessarily the sages are coming back per se, but it seems like there's, 7 things guarding whatever this is, right? And I'm thinking that maybe this represents 7 different locations we're going to have to go to, because again, you got to keep in mind that Mr. Aonuma did say, and Nintendo said that they wanted to bring back more kind of traditional dungeons for this game, because that was a big complaint for Breath of the Wild that people had, right? Is the divine beasts were not really kind of, classic dungeons. So I'm thinking that maybe that's kind of what's going on here, right? Let's say we have our forest temple, we have like our fire temple, we have our water temple, right? We have like, let's say, some kind of temple of time or something, like a spirit temple or whatever. And, just kind of like the 6 different kind of ones we had. And then we have that kind of 7th one, which might be something, unique or special. Maybe that's something that Zelda holds, right? Specifically, I don't know. I'm not really sure. Actually, you know what? Just kind of backtracking on what I just said. These sages of Ocarina of Time, there is 7 sages. So there is I'm reading through it here, right? So Princess Zelda counts technically. So we have the Sage of Spirit, we have the Sage of Shadow, we have the Sage of Water, the Sage of Fire, the Sage of Forest, the Sage of Light. There's 6 right there. But then the leader of the sages is Princess Zelda. So just kind of like what I was saying right here, it's kind of like Ocarina of Time. And I feel like they're borrowing a lot from Ocarina Majora's Mask as well. So again, I do think that this like top one would be representing Zelda, and then we have 3 sages on each side, 6 sages. Again, I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I think is going on. At least something like that, right? I mean, we have different kind of there's a bunch of different kind of things that this could be. There's the 7 sages, like I said, which may be connected to what they, if you're reading about Ocarina of Time, the ancient sages, which we see in Twilight Princess. So in Twilight Princess, we see the ancient sages, right? And that's a little bit different. There's also the 7 wise men, which are mentioned in the backstory of A Link to the Past, which are believed widely from a lot of people to be the 7 sages, due to like a bunch of of different kind of like similarities and different things like that, including kind of like how, the nature of their seal, like on the Dark World, for example. And so some people actually say, according to the Zelda wiki, or the Zeldapedia rather, apparently the term wise men was mistranslation of what would be more accurately called sages. So apparently the seven sages in A Link to the Past as well. So we got a bunch of stuff going like that, and there seems to be time travel in this game, right? So I definitely think that there's something with that, 100%. I would be very surprised if I'm wrong on this. This is probably the most confident thing I am on in here. And again, if there is time travel, I mean, again, are we going to go? Which sages are we going back to see? The Ocarina of Time sages, the ancient sages from like that we see in Twilight Princess, the seven sages from A Link to the Past. There are other sages, but again, the sages are a common theme that have passed down through generation after generation after generation in the Legend of Zelda series. So I think that's huge there. Right here, interestingly enough, now this like. At first glance, it would look like almost royalty here, right? You would almost be tempted to say, hey, is this Zelda? But if we look at the other trailers, when it was just called the sequel for Breath of the Wild, the way the hair is flowing down, the way the body is kind of positioned, it looks like that body that everybody is assuming is like Ganon, whether it's Ganondorf or whatnot, or maybe it's, a different kind of entity altogether. But I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here. But again, I can't say for sure. It's kind of hard to tell because these are just kind of murals. I could be wrong, and it could be like a past princess, but the royal kind of garbs and stuff, it looks like that's kind of what's going on there. Again, I think that's what's, especially the way the hair looks, with the red hair kind of flowing. It looks like that's what's going on, but again, it could be wrong. And then what we have here is just kind of a brief look at what seems to be Princess Zelda. So again, if you look at this, right, this seems to be Princess Zelda, but if you go back and look at the other scene, this is what I'm saying. It doesn't really look like the same person. I mean, and I guess in a way you could say maybe. Well, hold on here, actually. Well, hold on. Look at this thing right here, right? This thing right here, it kind of almost looks like a heart. And right here, it looks almost like the same shape. So it could be the princess. It could be like a fallen princess, a princess in slumber. I could be wrong that it's not actually Ganon or whoever it is, the red hair skeleton, excuse me, from the other trailers. I could be completely wrong about that because again, if we're looking at that symbol right here, right, this is kind of a front look at the symbol, but this would be more of like a side look of the symbol on her clothing. So, and again, with the hair with the curls at the end. We got the hair with the curls at the end. Yeah, it's pretty much, I'm pretty sure it's the same person. And I'm pretty sold that this is Princess Zelda in this one. But again, it could be wrong. And she's holding hands with someone. Who is this person here? I don't know. They kind of keep that, hidden for whatever reason. There's also a bunch of like writing here. I don't know what on earth this says or what it could say, but there's a bunch of writing there. But again, they cut right as they're kind of, moving over. And then we have Link opening like what seems to be like a giant dungeon door or something, or maybe he's like leaving a dungeon. I don't know where he's coming from. But here's what's really interesting. Okay, you got to pay close attention to this because we have Link right here who looks like the Breath of the Wild Link, right? The hair, the garbs, this looks like it's like early game or something, right? Something has happened. Everything's floating in the sky. We've seen in one of the trailers that, the Hyrule Castle started to lift up off the ground. So something has triggered an event. He jumps off and he dives, right? So there's going to be kind of like that, the diving kind of like in Skyward Sword. There's that kind of element. And then you start seeing what's really interesting. This seems to be, especially by the fact that this is highlighted, a new rune ability. I'm pretty sure this is a new rune ability. Like I said, I could be wrong. If you guys think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. I'm doing my best to kind of dissect this. But what's interesting about this is because of the gray background, I think this is like a time ability, right? So everything kind of freezes in the background and you're kind of moving an object within time and space itself. And we've seen that again in previous trailers. So I think this is just another look at that where you can grab onto something. And that's what's interesting, right? Is it's going to add so much more complexity and depth to what you could do. I mean, there's already a lot with just the rune abilities in Breath of the Wild, but with this, I mean, think about all the possibilities, right? Of moving certain objects and, you're going to really have to think things through and see how that just kind of goes up. And we can see, right? We see holograms of it because it's moved to different positions through time, whether that time was like, it fell within a minute, or, whether it started to sink over time, like years, whatever that is. What's really interesting, I do want to point out, is there's like a big gray cloud obscuring something here. I don't know if there's like a temple, a dungeon of some sort, or what's going on in here, but there is some debris. There is some kind of islands being obscured by this cloud. And I don't know. I mean, again, if you look at it, there's like a storm going on there. What's interesting is if we look at Link from like these past scenes right here, and then if we look at Link like right here, for example, it's a whole different look. It's a completely different look altogether. So either his look changes as he travels through time, or either we have maybe two different eras of Links. Maybe we're playing as two. I mean, I'm not really sold on that idea. I'm just kind of throwing it out there. It's more of like a possibility that I'm just kind of, I'm just stating in the background, but I don't really know. I don't really know for sure, but again, it's interesting because he has the hand thing. So whatever happened in the other trailers where we see something kind of, happen to his hand, at this point, this has already happened, and he's more like caveman Link, if you will. By the way, I just want to say this looks beautiful. This area, we have like some very vibrant looking kind of trees down there, some very bright stuff. And we're again, we got the climbing mechanics back, but then we're back to normal Link here. And what's interesting here, if we look very closely, we can see Hyrule Castle hovering, right? So you can see it's already happened. It's already triggered. We have, Death Mountain in the background, right? We have the volcano there, and the volcano is kind of like spewing, and it almost looks like it's spewing the same kind of calamity from the Hyrule Castle. But again, this Hyrule Castle, we have what seems to be, I don't know if this is like a stable or something right here. It's kind of hard to tell, but there's a lot of islands just floating. We can see the lake, we can see the tower, right? Those I forget what they're called in Breath of the Wild, but the towers that you can fast travel to. So the towers are still active, or maybe not active, but they're present. They're not destroyed. So they still exist here in the world to some extent. Now, are they going to use them again? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But again, we can see almost like a crevice here. This seems to be like this island used to be down here. That's what I'm getting at, because there's like a little crater. Beyond that, it's really hard to make out what's going on in the background. I mean, we can see that even higher right here at the top, right? It's kind of faded out. There's a giant piece of land up here. Again, are there going to be dungeons and temples kind of scattered throughout these pieces of land? Possibly. And the other question is, like, it just cuts right here. Where did Link come from? Did he come from a higher island? I guess that's probably where he did, but how did he get up there originally? I'm not sure. But what we will see shortly, actually right here, is that there's almost like, this seems like almost something that you can glide on. So it almost looks like he was jumping onto it. Right? It almost seems like this is something that's going to be part of the game that you can use to kind of like, I guess get from destination or point A to point B. Because the way it's shaped, I don't think it's just a random thing that's floating there. Then again, there could be this doesn't necessarily mean it's an item. It could be like there's multiple of these just kind of floating around. And if you jump onto one, it'll bring you somewhere. Because like, if you look at the stream, right here, right, there's like a line right coming off of the tips of the wings. That gives you the impression that this thing is moving forward. It's not just kind of, static in the air like some of these islands seem to be. This thing is moving and gliding down, which is very interesting. So again, I don't know if there's going to be an item or whatnot. Maybe we just kind of mute the music here. I keep kind of playing it off and on. I don't know if there's going to be kind of, an item that, like the paraglider, for example, something like that, necessarily, or if these are just gonna be scattered around. What's interesting is there's kind of like a design, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but there's something going on here on this piece of land. I don't really know how to kind of make sense of this, I'll be honest, but it's very interesting. Again, we can see this is kind of one of the locations we've seen in Breath of the Wild, right, with all the kind of toadstools and whatnot. Now, what's interesting, I do want to point out really quick, you can kind of see it right there. Look at the bottom, right, the kind of bars in the way. But if you look right here, there's kind of like this tower with this green swirl. Now, I don't know if this is like something that you jump into and it kind of like propels you upwards into the sky. And that's how, maybe you get to certain islands because these things are underground. Or what is this? I'm not really quite certain. But it's very interesting, and I thought it was worth noting because we see it down here in the bottom, is this, again, it looks like a little short kind of, device with like some kind of, again, this whole thing is the green, right? Again, we see it kind of going into the logo, right? Is this green kind of, you know, insignia, not really insignia, that's maybe not the right word, I don't know what to really call it, but and you can see kind of, by the way, in here there's like dragons looking kind of creatures that are swirling around, and it almost looks like, you know, like the time, goodness, in Skyward Sword it's called the it's, you know, the portal when you go into oh my gosh, what is it called? I'm literally drawing a blank. It's the portal of time or whatever it's called, right? The clock looking thing. The gate of time. That's it. The gate of time from Skyward Sword. It almost looks like that, right? Because the gate of time has kind of like these things kind of on the outside of it. And again, I feel like there's a lot of Skyward Sword vibes coming in with this, you know, with this this trailer, as well as other games as well. But, you know, we just got Skyward Sword HD as well for maybe a good reason as well, right? So, anyways, so I, you know, it is worth noting that. That's not actually fully what I wanted to say, though. I want to go back before we get to the title screen here. My point I was trying to make is that that green essence is something we've seen in the very first trailer of the sequel for Breath of the Wild, which is now, as we know, called Tears of the Kingdom. The title in and of itself, we can kind of quickly dissect as well, but the point being, by the way, there seems to be some kind of cube here. I don't know if that's related to anything, like, you know, kind of like those cubes from Skyward Sword or anything else, but again, this green essence is a key factor, clearly. So this kind of, you know, imagery here that we see on the mountain is with this green kind of, you know, and again, it has this sense of like something ancient, like an ancient magic, an ancient essence, if you will, right? There's a lot of time elements, as we're seeing with some of the new, you know, Sheikah Slate abilities. So, and that's, like I said, it's part of the main logo of the game. So, you know, it's significant, right? We've seen it everywhere. It's the thing that seems to kind of go into Link's arm at one point. We see it down here, like I said. So it's some sort of element of magic. We see it as well when Link kind of goes through the ground in I think it was like the second trailer for this game, where he kind of uses an ability where he kind of just, you know, he goes through a piece of land that's hovering in the sky, if you remember that. So we got that going on, and I just want to also note that we can see a lot of stuff going on here, right? Like just in the Breath of the Wild world, we got the bridge here, and you know, the land is very similar, but it's also definitely changed. So this is the way, just the way they kind of spin this in, right? It kind of gives you the sense of a clock. But listen, now, I know some people are going to 100% agree with me on this, and some people are going to think I'm stretching. I'm not stretching. Everything is significant. Look at the way it's turning. It's turning to the left. Which way does a clock turn? A clock turns to the right. This is something going backwards in time, right? Because we're moving counterclockwise, right? We see this thing turning counterclockwise, and if this whole element of time is to be taken into play, we're moving back in time. So we are moving back in time in this game, and that's the significance of this thing moving left, right? I don't know 100% the significance of these dragon-looking things as of yet. Like I said, as time goes on, as more people kind of like sit on this trailer, we may pick more things apart, and I can bring you guys some further analysis, is that the right word? Anyways, but for now, you know, we're this is what we got. So again, it's turning to the left. It is significant of going back in time. Now, interestingly enough, right? One thing I do want to say in regards to the title and regards to something we've seen earlier in the trailer. Okay, so remember when I was talking about the sages? I want to go back to that. These look like tears. I think these are tears because we got Tears of the Kingdom. And so my idea is that we're going to have all these different dungeons, and we're gonna have to collect these things that are called tears, right? So we can see 7 of them right here. Now, like I said, Princess Zelda may hold one of them. If this is, you know, kind of with the whole theme of the sages. And these look like teardrops, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then a 7th on the top. 7 teardrops. And again, I think this is reminiscent of, like I said, Ocarina of Time, right? When you think about the 7 sages, and you have to get all the different, goodness, I'm drawing a blank. Anyways, you know, you have to get all the different things from them. So 7 teardrops, and the reason I say that too is if we go here to this title, we see 2 teardrops right here. Again, in this insignia in the back of the logo. Now, if we go back, I don't actually know. There's one thing I didn't kind of think of through. Yeah, so this thing right here, right? Look at this thing. Look at the way this thing swirls down here. And then let's go back. Where was it? It's about here, right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. But what's weird is back here, There's no double tiers above its head. There's no double tiers. I don't see no double tiers above its head. It's this thing right here. Like, look again, look at the side, the swirls, right? The way this all swirls. We're going to go back here, right? And again, it's the same thing. The swirls are there, right? But there's something missing. It's hard to tell because the logo is kind of blocking the way. Like, we can't really see it. The logo comes in before it does. We can't really see it, but it's like half there, right? Again, if we go back, where was it here? We go back here, right? We have this side, right? Look at this, right? I don't know what these are, like the horns on its head, whatever you want to call it, right? So we got one to the left, one to the right, right? And we have like these three little kind of hooks on the bottom of each one. If we go back here, we see one to the left. There is none to the right. There's a big chunk missing right here. Why? I don't know. A big part of this creature that we see in this mural right here, right? It's the same creature, but like a huge chunk of it is missing for whatever reason. Over here it's missing, and it has two teardrops in a circle above its head. I'm not really sure what to make of that personally. I'll be honest. I'm kind of at a loss on that part. That kind of throws me a little bit of a curveball. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comment section below. But I thought it was worth noting out nonetheless. And again, the title, Tears of the Kingdom, right? Now you would think that there's some kind of thing, some kind of emotional impact, but I don't think it's tears necessarily in the crying sense. Now there could be something related to the story in that sense too, but I think it's like tears in the sense of the kingdom has been protected by these 7 tiers, right? These 7 tiers have kept Ganondorf sealed for all of this time, and now that we've defeated Calamity Ganon, there seems to be something going on, that there was a seal broken, and these tiers are going to have to be collected to reseal Ganondorf or something like that. It's kind of my guess at the time of recording this, my first little analysis, if you will. So again, we have that insignia, and again, you got to keep in mind we have the Master Sword, which is very important to pay attention to. Okay, so if we look at it on the black screen, the Master Sword starts normal. It has sort of like a rusted look here. It looks like the same Master Sword, similar to Breath of the Wild, but all of a sudden on the bottom part, the blade turns into that green essence, that green magic we're talking about. So it seems like the Master Sword in some way may be infused with this green ancient magic essence, if you will, some way, somehow. There's going to be, it's going to be infused with that, and maybe that's going to help us on our journey. Or I don't know. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but there's something with the Master Sword having that embodiment, infusion, if you will, of this ancient magic, of this ancient, kind of green essence, if you will, that we've been seeing. So I think that covers most of it. Beyond that, May 12th, 2023, if nothing gets delayed any further, that's when you can expect this game to come out. So that's kind of my analysis. I know it's a little bit of a lengthy video, but there's a lot to kind of dissect. Let me know what you think about it all in the comment section below. Did I miss anything? Do you think I'm wrong about anything? The only thing really I think, is what's going on here. What's with this war? When does this war take place that we see in this part right here? And then this right here, like I said, with the teardrops and stuff, I think I'm pretty confident that I'm on the nose with that one. This one right here, like I said, I thought maybe it was that, that kind of sealed Ganon, but at the same time, when we're looking at this looks nothing like Ganon, right? This looks everything more like Princess Zelda, in my opinion. But again, I could be very wrong about this. I might be just kind of, reading it wrong, but, given by the look of the hair here and the kind of insignia on the clothes here in the back here, I think it's the same person, at least, whoever it is. So anyways, that's kind of my analysis. Like I said, if you enjoyed this one, leave a like, subscribe for more. If we find anything else in the future, I'll let you guys know here on the channel. Of course, when the game comes out, I'll be playing it. We'll do a whole kind of like live walkthrough. I'll bring you guys a bunch of guides, kind of like I did with the first Breath of the Wild. Like I said, a lot of you guys found my channel through that, so look forward to that again as well with Tears of the Kingdom. We finally got a release date and a title, and it's a lot to get excited for. Like I said, there might be a few things, little tidbits I kind of missed here and there. Let's just take one last look right here. We do have Link right here, and he has something on his person that again contains the green essence, the green magic, if you will. So he has something. It almost looks like they're, you'd think they're like kind of like grenades or something of some sort. I don't know what they are, but I just noticed that right now, so I thought it was worth mentioning as we kind of conclude this. He's got his shield. He doesn't seem to, I don't think he has his Master Sword right here. No, I don't, well, no, is that? No, it looks like a wooden sword. So he doesn't have his Master Sword here. So I don't know what happens with the Master Sword. I don't know, because usually you have to reobtain it. Do we start with it? Maybe he's just holding the Master Sword and, they're just kind of trying to keep that, hidden from us. What's with Caveman Link versus, Breath of the Wild Link? Why does he change clothes? It's weird because, again, when you see normal Breath of the Wild Link, if we look right here, for example, it's kind of hard to know if his arm is all like kind of, I mean, no, it's, well, yeah, it is right here. You can see it, right? Because if you look at this hand, as he's running, you see his fingertips. But on this hand, you don't. His hand's already distorted. So whatever's happened to his arm has seemingly already happened by the time, when we view that image. So I don't know why his hair's all shaggy here and he has like kind of run down clothes. Is this kind of like, maybe he fell back into a slumber and this is when you first wake up and eventually, he cuts his hair or something and he looks back more like, the normal Breath of the Wild. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But anyways, we'll leave it at that instead of making this like a whole hour-long thing. Let me know if I missed anything. Let me know your thoughts and theories. We'll continue to speculate and theorize until the game comes out. Like I said, we got, 5 months in next year, and we got how many months remaining here? October, November, December. So we got about 8 months. About 8 months ago for The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. I'll see you guys soon in another one. Stay safe, stay well. Be sure to stick around for more. Share with your friends if you guys enjoyed this one. And I'll see you guys soon. Tell them, friends, game on. Thanks for watching.